Hey everybody, it's Michael Martin. Thanks for being here. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good eclipse Saturday if you could see it. It's kind of happening right now, but I can't see it. Remember, don't look into the damn sun. Um, a lot of good comments around precision trading and seeking certainty, so I thought I would chime in. First, thanks for everybody who wrote in and also left comments. I appreciate you all kind of pushing the conversation forward. It's an important topic. So there's like, how do you seek certainty? Ask all the open-ended questions: the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Because it's pretty deep, and I think it has very, very strong psychological implications for trading. First and foremostly, well, like, why do we seek certainty? I think because it feels good. It's good to know that you could take tab A and put it in slot B and get the desired result. We're also conditioned that way, right? Certainty meant accuracy, I think, in a lot of ways. People don't like probabilistic outcomes. They like to know that if they do something, like, that's why people have jobs and don't take on like commission only or incentive fee only compensation models, because they want the certainty. They might not act well under pressure. So I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying that it takes all shapes and sizes, right? So for me, I already knew how to make a lot of money. By the time I went to Wall Street, I had been working for 10 years, between summer jobs and in between jobs and jobs over the holidays, and just I was always hustling. So I knew I could make money. I wasn't afraid of any of that. The thing was is that in order to change my situation and go into white collar work, I needed to find a way to invite new risk. So that meant risk and behavior. It was a whole new world. I had to become a whole new person. And so the certainty thing was more like, how do I know what the results are going to be? Because I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste money. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, as they say, which is the big popular expression of the day. That kind of implies that you're distracted or you're wasting time. And it's very easy to go down rabbit holes. And I think as a trader, if you're newer and you're starting out, you actually have to seek out the rabbit holes. Because what the marketers are selling you, especially in the day trading thing, is certainty, and it doesn't exist. So I'm not saying to save your money, because everything that you do can certainly add up to your experience and help shape who you are, kind of culture the pearl, as I like to say. So by all means, do what you think is best, because only you know. But as far as I can see, there's a lot of people who are trying to sell certainty. The one that I make fun of is the sniper-like precision trading, right? Or the advanced charting add-ons that you have to your package. Like, they're useless. They might be advanced because it's like paying for Cinemax or signing up for Disney Plus at $16. It just gives you access to new data points. But when you look at data like I do, you have to separate noise versus signal. And so I don't look at all of that stuff. I kind of taint it, right? Because I've been there. And I was lucky enough to grow up before all these alternatives that are marketed to you even existed. So I always kind of saw them for what they were. I'm not going to go so low as to say that these people are snake oil salesmen. Most of them are guys. But I would definitely go to point out that they're trying to sell you certainty in a world of probabilistic outcomes. Sniper-like trading. Look, if you're worried about exact precision, and if like $50 to $100 slippage and skid on your order is a big deal for you, your account's probably underfunded. And that's something that you're going to have to live with. It's part of the game. So that percentage of slippage might be greater for you because your account is smaller, but you on your own volition are deciding to trade with a smaller account. So that's kind of on you. Slippage and skid isn't going anywhere. I mean, I have it on almost every single trade. And the bigger your account gets, the more likely you're to have it. You can put in limits, but now I'm getting off topic. Typically the more qualifiers you put on your order, the more liquid it becomes. Two, it could also lead you to, hovering and stalking your trades, because your account is too small So 1 or 2 ticks is like a big deal, right? If you have $1,000, what's 1% of 1,000? It's not a lot of money. It's like 2 ticks, 2 points, whatever. So you have to be careful of how you set yourself up for these. You get yourself to behave and start bad habits out of the gate. So certainty can cause you to do a lot of those things, or the need for certainty because it feels good. Joining discords or other types of chat rooms. There might be a lot of information from a lot of intentioned people who want to help teach you. But you need to understand that the intellectual side of trading doesn't mean that you can actually do it. I can watch the guys across the street build a 6,000 square foot house. I can see how they're putting it together piece by piece. I can see the property evolve from the landscaping to putting in the driveway to the pool in the back and all of that. And it seems logical. They got hammers and nails, they got hammer guns, and they're putting on the roof and this and that. But, being able to do that and to follow a plan and to do it on time and to get the permits and all that kind of stuff, it's not something that you could just jump into and do. It comes with experience. And the one thing that's missing, I think, from a lot of the marketing that sells you certainty is the fact that the more short-term a trader you want to be, the more experiential you have to be willing to dive in and figure it out by doing. Because on the short-term side, the certainty only comes from your having a knack. Part of your trading edge is that you have a knack, you have a good feel for the markets on a short-term basis. There's no intellectual solution that's going to teach you that knack. You have to do it. So that's why I don't really make fun of day traders as much as the people who are trying to market you the bullshit out there. Because I've been around the block. I know I've done it. There's days when I have to day trade, not because I want to, but because those are the market conditions that are out there. And markets, if they're not going to trend, it puts you in a make it and take it kind of environment. Because again, if you don't make money, you're not getting paid. At least that's how it works in my world. You can choose a different payout structure. So when I look at the people marketing stuff, they're trying to sell you the intellectual certainty to your unwillingness to feel the uncertainty by telling you that there are certain there are certain outcomes that are very specific. The world is probabilistic in trading, and there's no other way around it. That's the world. Those two words to me mean the same thing. Trading is probabilistic. There is nothing certain about it for anybody, not for me, not for, Paul Tudor Jones, nobody. And so to try to tell and sell you something that's intellectual, like here's something that's produced X amount of millionaires. Here's something that's someone made $13,267 last week following my model. Like you have to be on top of that stuff and realize that that person might have been lucky or they might have been remember, right? Because there's 3 ways to make. There's good analysis, there's good luck, and there's good timing. Very difficult in the short run to actually label that. In my guesstimation, if the person's been doing it for a week, they got lucky. And more power to them, because there's days where I get lucky and I'm happy to take it. But the need for certainty also comes from your upbringing, right? From the time we go to school, whether you go to pre-K or kindergarten, in the U.S., that's around the age of 6 for kindergarten, and then you make your way through any level of school. You're typically rewarded for accuracy, meaning the more accurate you are, the better the grade. And it's all kind of relative, too, because they have this socialist thing going on in some schools where they grade you on a curve. So that the highest grade among the losers still gets the better letter grade. Never really understood why you would reward mediocrity, because that's not what you want when you're allocating money to aspiring traders. But nonetheless, that becomes ingrained. It's behavioral. Like I said, we're products of our environment. So the certainty shows up in that I know if I have a teacher who's known to give pop quizzes, I know there's a certain amount of preparation that I need to do. So let's say they have 2 choices: do the preparation, don't do the preparation. If I do the preparation and I walk in on a Friday and I had this one history teacher who was known for giving, surprise quizzes, to make sure folks were doing the reading and the homework, I was always prepared. That was always my biggest fear in life. In any endeavor, I was always watching film of my opponents in sports. I always, went back and back tested and studied data. So, again, from the art of war, the victorious warrior first wins and then seeks battle. Like, you need to know what you're doing, and then you have to be willing to jump in, take a few punches, take a couple kicks to the head. So what happens is if you don't prepare, don't do the homework, you're unprepared, you're going to get a bad mark on the pop quiz. And if you read the books, write the papers, study for the midterms, you know what that process is. So you know that the outcome is largely predictable on some level. How you're graded on the quality of your essays, that's a different ball of wax. But it's a process that you know is what I'm saying. You know that you typically get out of it what you put into it. That's certainty, right? Because it's certain that you'll fail the class if you don't do the work, right? So if you do some work, you will be graded. So there's the quantity and the quality of your preparation. There is no external solution to your internal stuff. I've said that a million times, and so that applies to the concept of certainty. Your job, if you want to make it as a trader, or if you're at the hedge fund level and you want to continue, is really to improve your self-awareness and your understanding of what it is that makes you tick and how you can continually live and feel comfortable with the probabilistic and uncertain outcomes of the trades that you put on. Why do people blow up? Because they're certain of a certain outcome in a certain situation, and they put on too big of a trade, right? And then how do they go on tilt? Those outcomes don't happen. They're sitting in front of the screen watching real-time data, which you don't need, and they overtrade or they try to revenge trade. That typically, again, is usually a reaction to the person's misunderstanding of how markets work. And so to me, that's one of the biggest reasons why folks fail, especially the day traders, is because they have a fundamental misunderstanding of how the markets work. And there's a happy accident that goes on when you get the right people who have the right emotional constitution that can deal with the uncertainty and the probabilistic outcomes of putting on trades, and they can still follow their process day after day, not taking both winner and loser in stride. So how do you break that habit? Well, it's through trial and error. You have to put on the attempts and get used to the fact that, 60% of the time when you put on a trade, you're going to be wrong. And that's just the way that it works. There's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, that's what I did anyway, is I just said, if I don't put on the trades, I'm not going to make any money. So I'm going to be sitting here every day expecting the results to be different. I need to learn to get comfortable being uncomfortable. They say it takes now, it used to be a month. I think it's like 60 or 66 days to develop a new habit. So there's a good starting point, right? That comes from scientific research. Can't remember who did it. You could look it up. But those are the numbers, 60-something days to develop a new habit. And so what I would do is, if you're struggling on the short end of things because you don't have a feel, right? That's integral. If you're going to be a short-term trader, whether it's day trading or swing trading, you need to have a feel. And if you don't have a feel for the markets, it's going to be very difficult because the intellectual aspect of it is like looking through a peephole of someone else doing it. It's certainly interesting, but there's no guarantee that you can do it. But it's experiential, so you have to live with that. You have to live with the uncertainty of the outcomes and be willing to lose your money. And I think people are reluctant to do that because, A, it's hard to earn money, it's hard to save money. And if they lose all their money, they think it says something about them going back to their early days as a student, in that, failure was bad and it labels you, and being really smart and getting good grades also labels you. So the best thing in my mind's eye is like, why do you seek certainty? I think it's A, to conclude you feel comfortable with that because you're used to it. And you have to really become a different person. I know I did. But I understood math. I understood expected values. I understood gambling. I understood probabilistic outcomes. I just needed, what I didn't understand when I went to Wall Street was that math was applicable to investing. I thought that it was information based. I thought that if you went down and you had access to the markets access to research, that this is what gave you your edge, right? It's obviously laughable right now. It's hard to say it without laughing because it's all a big game. It's all a big game. Almost everything that's marketed to you is largely useless because if you don't eventually have a knack, you're not going anywhere. And if you lose your knack, chances are it's an awareness thing or a self-knowledge thing or it's a perspective thing. So that's one of the reasons why we are in the niche that we're in, because the trading tactics part is super easy. There's not any real secrets to that. The question is which one's most compatible for you that you can live with in the world of uncertainty and probabilistic outcomes. I've gone on long enough now. It's a big topic. I could probably do nothing but daily episodes ad infinitum on trying to deal with probabilistic outcomes and the emotional need for certainty in human beings. But it would probably end up being a boring show because you'd talk about the same thing almost every day. Your goal is to become comfortable being uncomfortable in the uncertainty of everything. So there's no one here that's going to mother you. There's no one here that's going to pat you on the back. The best thing that you can do is the one thing that you can control is when you put on a trade, know what you're willing to risk and honor your stops. That's the only thing that you can control. Anyway, it's a great topic. I appreciate if you have any thoughts or concerns. I don't need teaching lessons on it because, I'm the teacher, but if you have comments of things that you've learned in your own life that can help other people, those are the types of comments that would really be good as opposed to preaching. It's more about what did you have to learn in that process to become comfortable in the uncomfortable. As always, though, I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, everybody, thanks for being here. Please take a minute, like and subscribe to the show. You could also leave a comment. I don't have all the answers, so it's good to get some feedback. Also, if you would like to support the show, check out the links below. You can get the free audiobook of The Inner Voice of Trading, and also information about the course that I teach with Victor Sperandio. Thanks for being here, folks. I'll see you tomorrow.